Hello, Ohana, family, friends, loved ones. Um, Today is the last day being 42, and tomorrow is my first day of being 43, June 9th, 2023. I want to leave a little message. Um, Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well and having wonder, joy, and Ohana. And I have no idea where that is, so just know that there's love from me to you, and I'm receiving the love from you to me. Um, this year's been crazy. Lots of letting go, endings, betrayal, beginnings, journeys, adventures, and having fun. Um, Location wise, I'm now in Port Moody. This is a beach looking over the harbor here, and it's been a crazy journey there. We're living in Sutterbrook Village in a beautiful condo with a giant balcony and loving it because it's close to everything, whether it's a community center, the library, walking with our little one who's 2.5 now, um, as he goes off on adventures, meeting friends and family around the area, little butcher around the corner, fish market, like creating that community that's there. And we came here in December because we were looking for a place after trying winter camping in our truck camper and RV. And then on a windy night, we were in Fort Langley. A tree fell down behind us and then fell down in front of us and crushed our RAV4. And we had to leave emergently. And that no longer felt as safe as it should. We were safe though, thankfully. Nothing happened. But it was time for another change. And we had found our way to the RV park because we had sold our home in Coquitlam. We realized it was no longer the place we wanted to live, and thankfully we sold and it went really well. And we loved our neighbors, but it was time to go. And we adventured for a bit and then thought, let's just try winter camping because we're not ready to buy again yet. So those were our crazy adventures in terms of movement. We loved the RV last year. We did some journeys out to Kamloops and out to Bowen Island and up to Whistler. But after we moved into the condos, well, it was time to let that go too. And so we listed it. And it was beautiful. The first people to meet us and look at it were the first people to buy it. And they're over on Vancouver Island and they're just retiring. And so grateful that it's going to keep going on and creating magic. And we're grateful we did it, because if we hadn't done it, we would have had the adventures, and we know that we can do it again. And it's just like our moving. Like, for a while, we're like, why are we moving all the time? And realized if we hadn't, we wouldn't get to where we are now and be so happy. And Iris is finally getting furniture that she wants, and the place is looking great, and can't wait to have you over anytime. And then having a little one going from 1.5 to 2.5, running around, riding a bicycle or a push bike, having personality, talking back more, his own way of being. It's fantastic. So being a dad, first and foremost, is the greatest joy, and I get to do that. And I get to support Iris, and I'm grateful I have that flexibility. And so last year I realized it was time to leave that beautiful team I was with, Intronaut. And it wasn't the smoothest of endings or exits because I didn't know how to do that properly. And I give myself grace now because if I knew better, I would have done better. And in the totality of who I was, that's what I chose. And it took a few months to really figure things out. As we were moving around, selling the house, I was like, what am I doing? I have no idea. And then thankfully, things started coming together. And one of the things I'm grateful for actually is last year, my popo, my grandmother on my mom's side, passed away. And I'm grateful for that because she was having a challenging time. And I know it's challenging for my mom and the family to be with that, but I truly felt her passing. I actually had a deep, almost overnight meditation on that. And funny if the next day I could feel her presence, and I actually started looking for a place to live, and the first place I found that I thought would look good was a place that we eventually got. Iris had been looking and just not having success because things had gotten so crazy in the rental market. So I felt she guided us there. And then she guided me to this program called Fit for Service with Aubrey Marcus. which has been fantastic. And I don't recommend that you Google it, but if you do, know that it's not a cult. It's a beautiful space where 200 people, heart open, radically intimate, are willing to come together and actually have the conversations that bring out the healing to create a more beautiful humanity. And for me, it's been so good to get clear on my own visions, what I want to create, how I want to serve and be of service, how I want to step up as a man, as a husband, as a father. And as that has happened, everything is transformed. Iris and I are getting along better than ever because we're seeing each other. It doesn't mean that we don't get into arguments or disagreements or misspeak, but when we do, we notice it, we catch ourselves, we come back. I can own myself when I'm triggered and say, hey, I'm sorry about that. And every aspect of life is more fun because we're feeling more alive. I have much fewer time spent trying to hide in a corner and hope that this all just passes instead of reaching out for support, actually chatting with people who have done the work themselves and are willing to say, hey, we got you. And it translates into the real world financially as well. There's been more work that comes my way. People pop up and reach out of the blue. And then we get to create magic. I get to be of service. And the exchange is very fruitful on both sides then. Whatever they're creating, whatever we're creating. And it's allowed us to have our first flight with Sage. We flew over to Edmonton. I dropped Iris and him off at a friend's place to be cared for while I was down in Montana, and it was beautiful. And then came back and had connections with friends and everything else. What else? So, surprisingly and unsurprisingly to me now, I feel younger than I did last year. I am at an even healthier weight for me, probably about 125 to 130 pounds. And it's not by trying. It's, well, some of you may say so. Iris recently did this kind of vital mind reset with Dr. Kelly Brogan, who I met at Fit for Service, and then she felt called to do this reset, and it involved cleaning up the diet some, taking out those grains and dairies and sweet sugar, I can't remember what else, but just eating cleaner and healthier. And as I did that, everything got better. And we've got a beautiful sauna and steam room that I have access to all the time, so that's amazing. And the last thing, I'm going to share it just because it's fun and unexpected, part of it, if you want, is enemas, coffee enemas. And I always heard about them over a decade ago, and I thought those are ridiculous, silly, dangerous, all those things. And then about 2 years ago, I felt called to get the kit and was going to do it, but I was like, no, it's too messy, all that stuff. And then this came up, and finally I was like, all right, it's time. And funny enough, I actually had a roommate at the first Fit for Service Summit, and she actually helps guide people to that. And so I thought, oh, that's kind of neat too. And so now it doesn't affect me in terms of the coffee part that I thought, because I'm very sensitive to coffee. And it's actually quite easy to do once you get the hang of it. And it took about 1 to 3 times. And then actually there's quite a bit of joy in being able to transmute pleasure or pain into pleasure and then clearing things out. And so again, that's something I'm excited about. Happy to chat more with those who are curious, because I think that the more modalities we have to take care of ourselves, the better. And if they're fun for us, fantastic. And that's the thing, like everything that I'm doing is fun. I don't try to take any supplements, but every now and then I take something that's fun. I don't try to exercise, but running around with Sage and carrying him is fun. And I don't try to, have a diet, but now that we're doing this and we're only getting locally sourced meat and fish and the best sourcing possible, it's delicious and it's fun and you feel good. Like the energy levels are so much better. And yeah, for the last year, some of you know me, I used to be able to sleep until 3 p.m. My body now really wakes up after 5 hours. Go to bed at 10, wake up at 3. Go to bed at 1, wake up at 6. Like, it's just hilarious. And it wakes up, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's meditate, let's breathe, let's journal, let's walk, everything, because part of it is I just love having this time to myself. Having a family can be busy all the time, but this time is my time to contemplate, to dream, and the dreams are getting more and more profound. So I have audacious goals. Initially, I was just gonna, slowly progress. That's the way we're supposed to go. But my friend Matt Min gave me this book, 10 times is easier than 2 times. Going exponential is better, easier than going just a little bit better. And part of the reasoning is a little bit better just means trying to optimize, work harder at the things you're already doing. Whereas going bigger means you've got to really contemplate what are you willing to let go of, and how are you going to change things, and who are you going to bring in. And so for me, it's going from breathing, 50 to 100 people, instead of that, to going to 200 and saying, okay, I'm just going to double it. So, okay, I'm going to see if I can get to, in 6 months, breathing 1,000 people online at a time. And from that space, being able to create so much value, because I want to create $100,000 of value a month. Doesn't mean I'm getting $100,000, because it's not about the money I'm taking in, but the value people are taking away and growing. Because if we can do that, the whole world's going to be so much better and more fun. And if we can do that on such a large scale and have people see that they're not relying on me, like when we bring people together, what I love is that the energy flows, and then it's almost like everyone's the healer at the same time. And so there's so many fun things that are coming up. So if you're curious about that, reach out. And if you want to be a part of it, and there's part of you that wants to get into this healing space and all that, reach out. Because what's been really fun is dancing in the places that I enjoy. And when I do that, we're all having fun and moving through stuff. Like, it's not about the tears, it's not about the grief, it's not about the anger, but on the other side, it's just like being more alive. And this year has felt more alive than ever, whether it's been guiding people through really deep processes, whether it's even there was someone whose father was passing away, and it just felt right to support them in that and support him in his passing. And it was just being present even just before that time that he decided to transition. And how grateful, how beautiful it is to be there for births and to be there for deaths. What else is there? So coming up, planning to fly to Lockhart in July, planning on Burning Man this year, planning on Lockhart again in October, and then, or Sedona in October, and then another retreat in December. We're planning to go to Toronto to visit family, friends, and then hopefully get up to Ottawa, and we'll see how far east we can get sometime this summer. Planning to travel and do a little bit of work that way too. Planning to get to Hong Kong sometime next year to visit family, to have them meet Sage as well. And planning at some point to go to Egypt even. Egypt has been calling, and so feeling like leading a trip to Egypt sometime in the next year. We're looking to get a dog, so putting that out there as well. If you have any dogs that you know of who are chill, who are hypoallergenic, who are kind of small to medium, who want a great home, who are already well trained is even better, because we already have a baby, we don't need to have another one. That'd be fantastic, because Iris has been calling in a dog for so long, and I'm finally ready to say yes, let's try it out, let's see, because what's the universe want for us? And just want to thank all those who were part of the journey this year. And if you've interacted with me in any way or thought of me, then yes. And if somehow this is just reconnecting and rekindling us, feel free to reach out. That's part of how I operate now. I no longer try to keep in touch, but rather whoever's in touch is whoever's in touch. And the right time is the right time. Lots of love to you. And the quote on the back of our trailer was, "Not all who wander are lost." And know that part of me feels like I'm not just a wanderer, that was me in a previous life, but now I'm a wanderer. Like every moment I'm just practicing wonder. And Sage is the one that taught me that the most, because he lives in a state of pure wonder and magic. May your days be filled with wonder and magic, and I look forward to when our paths cross. Ciao for now.